G'day guys, welcome back. My name is Wildcard. You're watching the extremely late or extremely early Wildcard Rugby Show. This is the Six Nations round 4, England versus Ireland. I am kind of grateful that I stayed up all night. It's 6 o'clock in the morning right now to witness this absolutely monumental occasion for England rugby. Believe it or not, finally, the stench of Eddie Jones has been scrapped off this England team. No longer do the England players play the kicking game. No longer do the English players try to play against the clock constantly, trying to milk penalties, trying to win the game as easily as low with as little effort as possible. Has been gone finally out of the system for this England team. This is probably the first time I saw the England team play with full grit and determination for the whole 80 minutes. We've seen glimpses of this England team being able to pull out amazing rugby in the past. Remember England, drawing the game against the All Blacks, scoring 3 tries in 10 minutes. This was 2022, and we saw what the English players could do, but there was never consistency. There was never enough self-belief that a team can do that for the full 80 minutes. And this was a match where England's against the wall, against the team that's ranked 1 in the world, looking to get the back-to-back Grand Slam, looking absolutely unstoppable. This Irish side, this was at Twickenham at home. England had a lot of pride on the line as well, and they came out playing full 80 minutes of rugby, and they went all the way down the wire, went toe-to-toe with Ireland, never gave up, and they got there. They actually got there at the end, 23 points to 22, and there was very frustrating, and it was very difficult at times. England had opportunities where they could have taken 3 points, but they opted to go for the tries. And you know what? Hey, it may not have actually converted into tries, but that really, the pressure they applied to Ireland really just, what do you call it? Just really taken off a lot of that heat the Irish team have, taken off a lot of the energy the Irish have when they do the attack, when they do the counter attack. You've tired out the Irish pack. You've worn them down a bit with your attack, even though you didn't put points on the scoreboard. You actually were able to achieve, tangible damage onto the Irish pack, which is something that I think a lot of rugby teams, a lot of coaches tend to ignore. The effect of wear and tear, the effect of fatigue that you apply onto the opposition. You might not be points, but it'll pay off for you in the long run. And it paid out for England right at the end of the match to win the match. Ireland was exhausted at the end. They were just giving away penalties left and right. They were just, like, you can see the players praying the England would take a penalty so that the game will stop, so that the heart will stop, the lungs will stop burning. You can see it at the end of the game. And that's the result of the early pressures throughout the game that England applied. And walked away with a beautiful drop goal at the end from Marcus Smith, who just came back from injury, coming off the bench to really turning the game around for England rugby as well. I thought the George Ford looked a little bit off in the first half. He missed a goal kick. A few, couple drop goal attempts following penalty advantage. It didn't get those. And even with all that adversity, even with that, those hiccups, England rugby didn't just go, all right, guys, let's just kick for territory and let's try milk penalties and let's just try win this game with 3 points. No, they kept the pressure on. Ben Earls once again showed that he's superhuman. We saw what he could do when it comes to, the defensive side. Again and again and again, delivering that breakdown penalty for England, even at the Rugby World Cup. And today he again showed that just, physical toughness, carrying tough for the England team, and massive turning point when he scored that try for England, finally breaking through the stalemate. He initiated the break and then finished up with the try. It was absolutely unbelievable there from Ben Earls. And finally, the Danny Care 100th test almost kicked away the win. I think Eddie Jones' stench still lingered on him a little bit. Playing 100 tests, a large part of that was under Eddie Jones, and he came onto the field, kicked the ball away inside the Irish 22. In the dying minutes of the game, which could have hurt England, could have actually cost England the game. But luckily, the team got themselves together and just kept the pressure on. really, really well done for the England team. This is something that, I complain about a lot against England rugby. They play against the clock. They always make the clock the enemy, and then try to manage the clock with goal kicking. They did not do that this game, and finally they got that out of the system. And the results, it's starting to show, and it's looking really, really scary. The England team, the way they play tonight, if they polish up some of their handling, if they polish up some of those silly penalties, this could be a really, really scary team. And believe it or not, England rugby is actually in the run for Six Nation Championships next week. So there are 4 teams potentially up for the championship grabs. And some of the teams obviously have their fate in their hands. Some of the teams do not. So Ireland is currently sitting at number 1 with 16 points. England moved up to number 2 with 12 points after beating Ireland. Scotland number 3 at 11 after losing to Italy. France is going to play Wales tomorrow. So if France beat Wales with or without bonus point, they will be sitting at 11 or 12 points. And that means Ireland, England, Scotland, and France are all in contentions for the Six Nations Championship next week. And Ireland obviously just have to win the game. But for England and France to win the game, I think Scotland will have to beat Ireland without a bonus point. Is that correct? If Scotland beat Ireland without a bonus point, then Scotland will be still behind Ireland, right? But if England beats France, or France beat England with a bonus point, then they will actually win the championship. If Scotland can deny Ireland the bonus point and beat Ireland at the same time, England and France could actually win the Six Nations. Yeah, so it's a bit of an interesting situation, and this kind of reminds me of the Rugby World Cup, where once again the fate of other team is laid upon the Scottish team to play against Ireland for the results to go through for the other sides. So yeah, next week we got Ireland, Scotland, England, France, and those will be the games. I think the Scotland, Ireland will be the one that determines if England and France have a chance or not. But yeah, 4 teams could potentially be up for grabs for the Six Nations Championship next week, which really spices things up a little bit. Oh, one last thing I want to talk about. I thought one thing that the England really did well is their defense tonight. The rush defense really denied a lot of forward movement from the Irish team that they were able to really just taking the forward momentum for granted against a lot of their opposition so far. And a lot of that could be coming into that the addition of Felix Jones from the South African team that's been added into the England coaching staff. There was a lot of talk about how Felix Jones is bringing that rush defense, the Springboks rush defense to the England team, is applying that to the England side, and it's really starting to show. The Irish team was not able to get over the advantage line, when they're not able to get over the advantage line, they're not able to get that forward momentum, not getting that fast ball, and then everything kind of just snowballs, and they were not able to control the game as much as they did against the other oppositions. So that was another huge improvement from the England side, is that rush defense being able to shut down the Irish before the advantage line. And let's have a look at the point summary, and this will be very evident to everybody looking at it. England had 112 carries and made 546 run meters, whereas the Irish, 92 carries, not that far behind, less than half the run meters, which means the England tackling was a lot better. And obviously, the England was beating a lot of defenders as well over the Irish team. Another big bonus as well. But the main thing is the rush defense really stopping the Ireland team getting over the advantage line. Turnovers conceded 12 against England, 9 against Ireland. Tackle count, this was, like I said, this England defense, 18 missed tackles out of 119. Less than 10%, right? Is it less than 10%? No, actually not less than 10%, but maths is hard. Like, it's about 15%. Very, very good for international test matches, especially against a team like Ireland that, typically teams will see 20, 30s in terms of missed tackles against a team like Ireland who's consistently be able to get over the advantage line. For Ireland on the outside, 146 tackles made, 25 missed tackles. The England team really threw the ball out, even though the accuracy is not there at times, but there really was adventurous and ambitious in their attack was major difference. England had a few shockers in terms of goal kicking. Daly missed a long one. George Ford missed one. I was kind of like in front. A bunch of kicks missed from the sides. But eventually it was Marcus Smith that saved the game with the drop goal right in front. They did have penalty advantage at the end there, so it wasn't just Marcus Smith the drop goal. They could have taken the penalty advantage, but yeah, just to make sure they taken as much opportunity as they can. Ended the game with the drop goal, regardless of the penalty count. Line out, 1 loss for England, 2 losses for Ireland out of 11. Scrums was quite. I thought the Irish scrum had a bit of dominance over England, especially in that first half when the what's it called? When Andrew Porter was up against Cole. I thought Porter was just doing an absolute number, churning Cole inside out a little bit in that scrummaging, but England was able to scrape through in that front. Overall penalties conceded 10 against England, 8 against Ireland. There was 1 yellow card issued against Peter O'Mahony. There was an English break by Ben Earl. Peter O'Mahony, probably panicked a little bit, jumped onto the ball and completely killed it off. Deliberately, very cynical play, and not allowing England to get the ball out essentially at all. And then the referee just said, "Nope, you're literally on the ground, and you just like picked up the ball and held it at your chest." And that's a yellow card. So Peter O'Mahony was sent off for that. But this was I think this was a massive turning point for England rugby, and could be a force to be reckoned with going into the final round, and going into the July test, and then the November test as well against the Southerners. So let's talk about some of the key moments of the game. So England rugby actually came out. Ireland rugby actually came out with the first points on the board 2 minutes into the game. Ireland got a penalty again. Just England's silly stuff. Immediately, I think it was a breakdown penalty or something. Like immediately was giving away a penalty, and Ireland's like, "Yeah, we're happy to take 3 points." They popped that one through, 3-0. And then with the scoreboard pressure already present for England, it was really good to see that England didn't just go, "All right, guys, let's just go for the 3 points and try to keep ourselves in the game." Nope, England rugby, they fall back with a try almost immediately. Furbank made a massive run and down the field, and then it was just nice hands, just nice hands all the way down to the wing. Ollie Lawrence just running, just big strong strides down the field. And who was it? I think it was the number 10. Crowley swept across to try to take out Ollie Lawrence and just got shrugged off. And Lawrence went in for the first try into the corner for England rugby. 5 points to 3. England rugby taking the lead. And at this point, it was really obvious that England was not going to just take 3 points. They were very happy to spread the ball from side to side and very happy to just smash the ball down the middle of the field. And yeah, they were applying a lot of pressure on the Irish. And, and it was looking like England rugby really, settled into a rhythm that is much faster than what we've seen in the past. And it took 50 minutes in the game for England to get themselves another opportunity. There was a nice offload by Boso breaking the defense, and eventually England just pounded the Irish for a very long time, getting themselves another penalty, a hard-earned penalty, and this time they kicked the 3 after a lot of pressure. I think it was deservingly could have taken the 3 points there. So 8 points to 3 for England. 90 minutes into the game, pretty much immediately after this penalty was taken for England. Ollie Lawrence was penalised for side entry. I thought it was a bit hardcore, but they got penalised for that. Ireland takes a 3, 8 points to 6. Like literally, Ireland just got themselves into the England half and immediately was given a penalty. 22 minutes into the game, England had a very easily kickable penalty, and they went for the corner to the absolute cheering of the entire Twickenham Stadium. This didn't go well. Ty Byrne was able to steal the ball at the breakdown. The ball sort of like popped out, and he just like went straight onto it, which was really on the ball, you could say. The Irish team tried to clear the ball out after this. Ball was stolen, but it didn't find touch, so England counter-attacked. Ollie Lawrence kicked the ball behind. There was a bit of a scramble for the ball. It looked like Ollie Lawrence scored the try and managed to, get the bounce, but it turned out that Furbank had touched the ball before the ball was ricocheted, was bounced off the ground again. And then it was deemed a knock on, no try for England. 29 minutes into the game, England had a penalty pretty much right in front, 40 meters out, and George Ford missed this one. 34 minutes into the game, Bang Diaki, like literally barely inside the England half, after getting pounded for about 30 minutes, gets a turnover at the breakdown against England, and this was just inside the England half, 45 meters out, and Jack Crowley popped this one through. Somehow, being on the receiving end for pretty much 30 minutes, Ireland was able to take the lead at 34 minutes, 9 points to 8. So at this point, you're starting to think that, is England going to go back to their shell? No, they just continuing with the pressure, which is something that was really, really good to see. The Furbank kind of made a mistake again. Just before full halftime, there was a bit of a kicking game going on. Furbank made a mistake catching the ball just by the sideline and then stepping onto the sideline. So giving an Irish an opportunity for a 22-meter line-out. And then Ireland, following this line-out, just, put some pressure on. England giving away another penalty right in front of the goal line. And then Ireland kicked this one through. Somehow going to halftime, despite almost hardly stepping foot inside the England half, Ireland was able to go into halftime 12 points to a lead. Yeah. And, it's just like the Irish is almost taunting England at this point to kick 3 points, right? The second half, the 43 minutes into the game, this Ireland was able to break through for their first try of the game. And it was just, and the rush defense, it was completely misread by Henry Slade. He rushed up and he thought he could have gone maybe for, it is exactly the play style of South Africa. You see one guy will shoot out really far off to try to shut off the potential, long pass, and then try to come in field to kind of like make the tackle. He ran out and completely just got essentially duped by the Irish, attackers. They basically just went around him, threw the ball around him. He couldn't shut down the cross, the long pass at all, and then just left a massive gap behind him. This is something that South Africa do a lot. Not the missed tackle. This is the exact move that South African does. But they, at this point, Slater was not able to achieve, probably still need a bit more work with his time in there. Not achieve what the South Africans able to do is actually shut the ball down and leaving a massive gap open behind him. And then Irish just, good hands into the corner. James Lowe try time, 43 minutes into the game. Ireland pulled themselves further ahead, 17 points to 8, and missed the conversion here as, again, Jack Crowley. Some few minutes later, England fights back to get themselves back in with a try. So they George Furbank goes in for England. So basically there was a bit of a kicking game going on, and the Irish was inside their own 22, did a clearance kick, and it didn't go out. So England just started counter-attacking from halfway point, and the Irish defense came out was just a complete mess. There was a lot of players centered field. There was very few cover on the left-hand side, and then England basically went midfield, drawn all the defenders in, just throw the ball back out to the left-hand side. Nice offloads, including Mario Itoje, got a bit of offload there, and George Furbank just had a bit of an open space to the left-hand side of the field. Following a bit of a kicking game, and then suddenly England's in 13 points to 7. Boso was really, really good on the field for England this game, just really crashing through, getting over the advantage line again and again and again. He was penalized here, I think, for a turnover I thought was a little bit hard done by. He had his hands on the ball, and the referee said that his hands touched the ground, which I thought was pretty much identical to the turnover that Bang Diaki got just before halftime, but he was penalized in this occasion. 57 minutes into the game, Ben Earl was just being a superhuman. He got the ball and just punched through down the middle of the field essentially, and the England was following that little break, forward momentum, pick and go. Following that little break, Peter O'Mahony kills the ball at the breakdown, gets sent off for a yellow card, and then England following this one with a line out. They Moore with the line out gets a penalty advantage. Just crash ball. Eventually, the guy who started all, Ben Earls, picked and drive, gets himself. It wasn't even a pick and drive. He got the ball, kind of like a little crash ball fed to him out wide, and he was 1-on-1 against Bundee Aki, and he trucked over Bundee Aki for this try. That was impressive. Like, Bundee Aki is a massive human being. Being able to just run him over for a try was hugely impressive. 20 points to 17 for England. Again, you're starting to ask the question, is England just gonna manage the game? They kind of did a little bit here. England was during this yellow card period, England was not able to get any more points. But as soon as the yellow card period finished, as soon as yellow card finished, the Irish was back into the front foot. They get a penalty. 72 minutes of the game, they get a penalty. They go for the line out, and then just crash ball center field. Pretty, bread and butter Irish style. Just crash ball. Eventually, a lot of English players were drawn in, and then they spread ball out wide. James Lowe down the sideline, 1-on-1 against Marcus Smith. Too big, too fast, going into the corner. Suddenly, Ireland is back in front, 22 points to 20. Crowley could not handle the pressure here, man. He completely shanked the conversion, and it was really, really important. If he had got that conversion, Ireland could have sealed the game right there. 22 points to 20, Ireland lead by 2. 74 minutes in the game, England had a penalty 50 meters out. I really thought this is kind of like the point where England, going back to the Eddie Jones stench, tried a 50-meter kick, and Daly did have the range, but yeah, like, this has been a very low percentage kick for Daly in the international tests. Like, it's pretty low. Like, but I mean, I can understand it because you still got time to win the game. It's not completely end at this point. So he went for it, but he missed from the 50 meter up, from 50 meter out, over 50 meters actually. And finally, the 77 minutes into the game, England just not relenting, throwing the kitchen sink. Didn't try to milk penalties or breakdowns. Just played, the same style of rugby they played at the beginning of the game. Good hands spreading the ball from side to side, using the full width of the field. Eventually, Marcus Smith was able to make a massive breakdown the sideline into the 22. And Danny Kerr still had the Eddie Jones voice in his head, kicked the ball away, and this was just 2 minutes left on the clock. Just over 2 minutes on the clock. This was very stupid, to the dismay of everybody watching at Twickenham. Finally, 80 minutes in the clock. Clock is red. England was still just unrelenting into the Irish. Waboso found some space down the right-hand side of the field, went through, and then England just pummeling in, got a penalty advantage. This was right against the sideline. So maybe you got the penalty advantage, but England was not happy, and they just kept on building. Ty Burn was in a much closer position to the goalpost, seals the ball off, and the referee says, let it go. Ty Burn was not letting go. Referee issues another penalty advantage, which this one was much kickable than the first one that was near the sideline. And this was pretty much, just a little bit off the goalpost, and this was 5 meters away from the try line as well. And with that penalty advantage, England said, no, that's enough. We're just going to go for the drop goal. They fed the ball to, very slow ball, by the way. They fed the ball to Marcus Smith, who just slots it through, and England wins the game 23 points to 22. Yeah, in terms of performance, I thought this was probably one of the best England performances in many, many, many years. And I gave the English team I would say probably a 7 out of 10. This Irish performance was pretty average. I thought probably a 5.5 out of 10. Really, just outside of England giving 3 points in goal kicking, Ireland only had just very brief moments of brilliance where they did convert that into tries. But yeah, wasn't on the receiving end for the most part of it. England, if they had been a bit more tidy, could have scored more points against the Irish side here in this particular evening. So yeah, that's my thoughts for the game. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your comments down below. Thanks for watching this video. Like and comment, subscribe. I do appreciate all my patrons, all my YouTube members, and anybody who donates them hard-earned money for me. It really helps paying bills and pay my coffee. And yes, thanks for watching, guys. Have a good week. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the potentially France versus Wales game. Cheers.